For a while, after the Mega Drive arrived, I genuinely believed we'd reached the top. Home gaming had finally caught up. No loading times, big sprites, loud music, controllers that felt solid in your hands, sitting on your own carpet, staring at a glowing TV, believing there was nothing left to chase. And then someone said it. Not loudly, not dramatically, just casually. "Have you been down the arcade lately?" That was all it took. Because arcades weren't just places you went. They were places you prepared for. You didn't leave the house without checking your pockets. Coins were counted again and again, moved from one pocket to another like they might escape. You planned how many games you could afford. You promised yourself you wouldn't waste money on something you'd already played. You lied to yourself, obviously. The arcade was just far enough away to feel like a journey. Not too far, but far enough that it mattered. You walked faster as you got closer, heart already speeding up, ears almost imagining the noise before you heard it. And then the doors opened, not quietly, with a rush. Sound hit you first, not one sound, but everything. Music overlapping, digital explosions, voices shouting, coin slots clinking, buttons being hammered, the low electrical hum of machines running hot. The smell followed, warm electronics, sweat, chips, plastic, something metallic you could never quite place. The air felt thick, heavy with electricity and anticipation, and the lights, flashing, pulsing, alive. Rows of cabinets stretched out like monuments, screens glowing brighter than anything you owned at home. Compared to the TV in your living room, they looked unreal, sharper, louder, more dangerous somehow. You didn't just play arcade games, you faced them. The first thing you always heard, before you even chose a machine, was the sound of punching, that unmistakable thud-thud coming from the Double Dragon cabinet. Someone always played it like they meant it. Every punch was real, every kick exaggerated. The cabinet shook slightly with the force of it. You didn't need to see the screen to know what was happening. Two brothers, endless enemies. Street fights that felt grimy and urgent. Kids gathered around, silently watching, learning when to punch and when to jump. When someone made it far, respect followed. Nearby, Pac-Man hummed away endlessly. Simple, perfect, timeless. Older kids played it differently, calmer, precise, no panic. Patterns memorized, ghosts herded. Watching someone who knew what they were doing felt hypnotic. It didn't matter how many new machines arrived, Pac-Man never disappeared. And then there was Donkey Kong, the original, ladders, barrels, that music that burrowed into your brain. It looked old even then, but it commanded respect. It was history you could touch. Further in, things got louder. The music from Super Hang-On cut through everything, fast, urgent, euphoric. This wasn't a cabinet. It was a full-size motorbike. You climbed on like you were mounting something real, hands gripping the handlebars, body leaning into corners. You didn't just steer, you committed. When the music kicked in and the scenery rushed past, it felt like speed itself. You came off shaky, laughing, convinced you were a better rider than you actually were. Not far away stood OutRun, not the sit-down version, the motion cabinet, bright red, massive, impossible to ignore. You sat inside, pulled the wheel toward you, and suddenly the whole world tilted. Palm trees flew by. That music, carefree, sunny, endlessly replayable, filled the space. People stood watching, waiting their turn, already humming along. At home, you played OutRun. Here, you traveled. Then there were the gun games, Mad Dog McCree, full motion video, real actors, real scenery, real danger. The gun felt heavier than it should have. The screen barked orders at you. You reacted, heart pounding, finger twitching. When you missed, the punishment came fast, loud, merciless. Kids laughed when you failed, not cruelly, just in shared disbelief. How did you miss that? And then, somehow, there it was. The music, that unmistakable beat, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. It floated through the arcade, cutting through the chaos like nothing else. The cabinet glowed. Kids danced while they played. Enemies froze. Screens filled with sound and color. It was surreal, part concert, part game, part dream. You didn't understand how it existed. You just accepted that it did. And then you reached that section of the arcade, the serious end, where crowds gathered, where silence fell. Street Fighter 2. This wasn't just a game. It was an event. People didn't wander past it. They stopped. Coins lined the screen, stacked carefully, silently declaring who was next. There were rules here, unspoken but absolute. Winner stayed. Loser stepped away. No excuses. The buttons were worn smooth. The joysticks stiff. Every move mattered. Every mistake punished instantly. You couldn't mash your way through this. You had to learn, to watch, to understand. When someone pulled off a move you'd never seen before, a fireball done perfectly, a combo that felt impossible, the crowd reacted as one. Gasps, shouts, respect. For a moment, that player was everything. I remember standing there, not even playing, just watching, and thinking, we're not there yet. And that was okay, because arcades weren't about owning something. They were about being there, about watching someone better than you, and believing that one day, maybe, you could be that good. When you finally stepped up, coin trembling between fingers, hands already sweaty, the pressure was real, eyes on you, silence waiting. You played, you lost, you stepped back, and you watched again. Walking home afterwards felt strange, quieter, smaller. The street felt empty after the chaos you'd left behind. You jingled the few coins you had left, already planning the next visit, already replaying moments in your head. Back at home, the Mega Drive booted up perfectly, familiar, comfortable, yours. But something had shifted. You now knew what was out there, something louder, bigger, heavier, unbeatable. And instead of feeling disappointed, you felt inspired. Because arcades weren't just about showing you what you didn't have. They showed you what was possible. And even now, when screens are sharper and games are bigger than ever, nothing quite matches that feeling. Standing in a room full of noise and light, watching a machine dare you to be better, knowing you'd be back. Because once you'd felt it, there was no going back.
Oh, we're living for that pixel life. Game on, feeling so electrified. From the arcade to the midnight